Hey, hey, hey. Happy Monday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Monday, April 3rd, 2023. This is live stream 904. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and then we take a look, normally, at a game. So tonight will be no different, and I am going to dive on in and take a first look at Blitz Bowl from Games Workshop. So this is the lighter weight version of Blood Bowl. I believe they have smaller teams and the game plays a bit faster. I think it's got fewer rules to it. But I actually received this as a Christmas present from my best friend Elliot Miller. And we actually didn't have an opportunity to get together until March. So that's when I got my Christmas present, which is okay. He got his Christmas present and birthday present because his birthday is in February. So that's what's on the agenda tonight. Do want to mention, if you are stopping on by to check out the live unboxing of Blitz Bowl, we do tackle the tabletop gaming news first. So if that's the case, you're watching live, kick back, put your feet up, relax. We will get to it. Be patient. We will crack this baby open. But if you are watching this 30 minutes or more after the stream has ended, there are timestamps. So you can jump ahead if you want, if you're impatient. Gotta get to that unboxing. It's okay. I understand. You're going to miss some cool news. But I get it. And of course, those are located, those timestamps will be located in the show notes, as well as very possibly in the timeline of the video right in front of you, depending on what device you happen to be using. Also, don't forget, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream. That means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before taking part in chat. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight is the Motor City Madman. That's right. The Madman is with us. He is also one of our chat moderators. Kevin R. Smith is here. Mathai122, who I believe might be a first-time visitor in chat, is hanging out, as is Agent Especial, Veteran Grayblox, David B., Chuck Terrell, Viper Dave, and I think that is everybody who is currently in chat, or at least whoever is chiming in. So Viper Dave says, hey, is it over? No, Viper Dave's here on time. Usually Viper Dave pops in about 5 minutes before the show wraps up. All righty. So we've got a new month off and running. Let me grab a quick sip here. The Happy Wargamers chiming in, pointing out, great hat. I am a Padres fan, but I am wearing this because of San Diego being in the finals tonight. I got to root for the underdog. Come on, UConn's won it before. I think they've won it multiple times. I know they won it at least once because I lost money on them while going up against them. It was, if I remember right, it was Duke. And it was one of those kind of, you kick in like, I think it was like $5 or $10 a team, and you reached into a hat and you pulled out the teams that you ended up getting. And I did this for like 3 years at a place I worked. And I used to get just, god awful teams. I'd get, like George Washington. Be like, yeah, okay, yes. Yeah, great. Yeah. Coco B is with us in chat. Says they glanced at the hat and thought it was Daredevil. It was for Daredevil. Be a red hat. I actually do have. It's floating around here somewhere. I have a beanie. I have a reversible beanie. One side is Daredevil and it's red. And then the other side is the Punisher and it's black. So it's kind of cool. I got that a few years ago. Anyway, so yes. So I am rooting for the Padres. Of course, if you follow the show, I'm a lifelong Cubs fan. But I don't need to wear a Cubs hat every time they play. So yes, so I am rooting for San Diego. Isn't it San Diego State University? I know Tony Gwynn played basketball there before he became a Hall of Fame ball player for the Padres. Anyway, let's jump on into the news because I've got a cool, eclectic mix tonight. Hitting stores this week for Gamelyn Games is Tiny Epic Vikings. Yes. And of course, I've got the skinny. I know a lot of people are really looking forward to Tiny Epic Vikings as well. In the frigid, runic isles of the North Sea, the Vikings reign supreme. These determined explorers navigate the icy fjords, build fertile settlements upon rocky crags, and fight for the glory of their clans with blood and steel. Only the gods stand above them, and it is every Viking's dream to serve their god in the afterlife, Valhalla. Tiny Epic Vikings is a fast-playing 1-to-4 player strategy game of drafting, area control, and set collection. In Tiny Epic Vikings, players lead a clan of Vikings over 3 eras in hopes of claiming the icy lands for their own. They play Viking cards that represent their clan's leaders, choosing the best builders, harvesters, explorers, and warriors. Warriors, come out and play! Raid and conquer the islands with settlers, build boats and temples to gain influence, and battle for the favor of the gods. The deluxe edition of Tiny Epic Vikings is for 1-to-4 players, ages 14 and up, mainly because it's got small pieces. Plays in around 45 to 60 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $35 when it arrives this week. And I do believe the Madman has an order for this game in. I'm pretty sure he backed this. Pretty sure. Happy Wargamer says yes. The college they went to. Are we talking San Diego State? So the madman said crazy Final Four this year, although he won his bracket pool. Nice. I gotta be honest, I didn't even really play a bracket. I didn't play at all. So Madman says they already have their Kickstarter copy. Yes. Kabuki Kid is with us in chat. That's right. Double K's in the house. Welcome aboard. Moving on to the next news piece, now available from GMT Games, is Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East. And here's what I know. If you liked Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea, you are going to love Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East. Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East, Acme, yes, Acme, is brought to you by the same team that created Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea. Designers Christopher Vorder-Broge and Mark McLaughlin, with developer Fred Schachter. Acme is not a sequel nor an expansion, but a standalone game using the same multiplayer and solitaire systems as its predecessor, with many new and exciting features to intrigue its players. Acme is a game of the chaos-inducing wrath of gods and men. A chaos each player does their utmost to manage, survive, and guide their civilization through to triumphant victory. Spanning the ancient world from the Hellespont to the Indus, from the Caspian to the Red Sea, and from the early Bronze Age to the Hellenic Age, Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East allows you to command not just 10, but 17 civilizations. If you want a war game, you've got it. If you want a friendly game, this is it too. As in Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea, Acme can be all about war, but it doesn't have to be. It can be a friendly game of exploration, city building, trade, and faith. Players, solitaire, a group of up to 6, or even a mix of live players with a system-driven civilization of 2 or more, can make Acme what they wish or imagine. Competition can be martial or cultural, warlike or friendly, or a combination of both. How the game unfolds depends entirely on how the players want it to play. The duration of the game is also up to the players, from a multi-hour odyssey of all 4 epochs to a prearranged shorter contest of an hour or two, or to an agreed sudden death victory point threshold. Ancient Civilizations of the Middle East is for 1 to 6 players, ages 14 and up, plays in 2 hours or more, and I'm not buying that 60-minute quick game. It does carry an MSRP of $90. I do want to mention that Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea was one of my games of the year. It was one of my favorite games when it came out. Off the top of my head, I think that was 2019, 2020, somewhere around there. Very, very interesting and unique design. And it is not as heavy as people think it would be. It is very, very easy to get into. And it's got some card-driven aspects to it as well. But kind of cool. We've got 17 civilizations to choose from. And if I remember correctly, now I could be going out on a limb here, but if I remember correctly, if your civilization gets knocked out, you just take over another civilization. So you lose victory points, if I remember correctly. But looking forward to this. We should get a chance to peek at it relatively soon. Funny enough, I actually had a GMT package show up, and I thought, oh, I bet you it's this. And it's not. I will show you what it is in just a bit, because we're going to unbox it and take a first look on Wednesday. All right, let's talk about some role-playing game news. Kabuki Kid says, Acme, someone call Wile Coyote. Yeah, it's Wile Coyote. I started saying Wile E. Coyote, and that is not his name. It's Wile E. Coyote. I should mention, as weird as this sounds, I was never a big Warner Brothers cartoon fan. No, is that sacrilege? Anyway, role-playing game news. The third edition of the Clement Sector role-playing game from Independence Games is currently featured in a money-saving bundle of holding. Here's the deets on the deal. Adventura! This all-new Clement Sector 3rd edition bundle presents the 2021, you guessed it, 3rd edition of the space opera tabletop role-playing game from Independence Games that uses the Cepheus engine based on the 1st edition of Mongoose Traveler. Set in a distant space sector stranded after a wormhole collapse, Clement Sector has grown and matured through 3 editions to become one of the largest and best supported lines based on this popular open license. Fight epic space battles, explore new worlds, become a pirate or bounty hunter. It's all possible in Clement Sector, and this big bundle provides the foundation for many exploits. For just $17.95, you'll get all 7 titles in the starter collection, retail value $87, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete standalone 673-page Clement Sector 3rd edition core rulebook from 2021. Yes, and you heard that right, 673 pages. You'll also get the character expansion Diverse Roles, the World and Star System Generation Sourcebook, Unmerciful Frontier, the CCA Sourcebook, and 4 Starship Supplements. Anderson and Felix Guide to Naval Architecture, 3E, Winnie's Guide to the Fleets of Hub Subsector, Pleiades Class Light Freighter, and Roosevelt Class Intercept Destroyer. And if you pay more than the threshold price of $35.58, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 9 more titles worth an additional $123, including Port of Entry, 3 subsector source books, Hub, Sequoia, and the Colonies, and 5 background source books, Manhunters, Bounty Hunters, Outlaw, Skull and Crossbones, Tree of Life, Alterance, and Wondrous Menagerie, Uplifts. Independence Games has also kindly provided purchasers of this offer a 30% discount code good through May 31st for all purchases, except gift cards, at the Independence Games web store. These savings run through April 17th, and 10% of your payment after payment gateway fees will be donated to the Brain Aneurysm Foundation. I'm curious. I am rather curious. I have never checked out Clement Sector. So I do understand, as I mentioned, it is based on Mongoose Traveler 1st edition. So it is not the original Traveler. So it is a little bit different. And Kevin says they've picked up this bundle. And Coco B says an almost 700-page system needs an expansion. Of course it does. You can't have a 700-page core book and not get more material out there. Everybody needs fluff. So I am kind of curious about the space opera aspect of Clement Sector, because the title of the system wouldn't lead me to believe that it's space operatic, you know? Like, So Kevin will have to tell us how this bundle is. Once again, you can take advantage of this deal. And I will point out, this is a rocking deal because just the core rulebook itself is normally more than $17.95 in PDF. I think it's $20. So right there, even if you just jump aboard on the entry level, you're getting a pretty rockin' deal. Moving right along, now available in PDF for Old School Essentials is Secret of the Black Crag. Here's the details from author Chance Dudinack. Secret of the Black Crag is a 96-page island crawl sandbox adventure centered around a multi-level dungeon written by Chance Dudinack, author of The Black Worm of Brandonsford, which I have heard really good things about. Honestly, no joke. The adventure begins in the pirate haven of Port Fortune, a rowdy town in the tropical archipelago of the Salamander Islands. Here, a mysterious undersea mountain has risen forth from the abyss, beckoning treasure hunters to explore the forgotten depths of the Black Crag. This module is written for use with Old School Essentials and is designed for a party of level 1 to 5 or 1st to 5th level characters. Inspirations include Atlantis, The Lost Empire, Pirates of the Caribbean, and The Secret of Monkey Island. What's inside? Well, there's the mysterious Black Crag, a forbidden rock riddled with over 75 evocative and dangerous dungeon rooms on 3 levels, laid out for maximum ease of use at the table. 18 adventurous locations scattered around the Salamander Islands on a detailed hex map, including 2 more fully keyed dungeons, a monkey overrun temple, and a sea worm's underwater lair. There are 5 sparring factions, from coral-encrusted skeleton pirates to manufactured crab people to travelers from beyond the stars. The pirate outpost of Port Fortune, a shanty town of ship hulls and sailcloth, with 11 detailed and peculiar NPCs with varying desires and personalities, with adventure-attractive hooks tying them closely to the rest of the setting. Detailed encounter tables that produce varied surprises with over 6,655 potential encounter variations in each table. Heaps of illustrations by the book's author and equally skilled artist, Chance Dudinack. And there's also a rival pirate crew generator, quick and dirty underwater adventuring rules to help out when you swallow a potion and jump off the ship, 11 brand new monsters, and plenty of unique twists on more familiar creatures, plenty of strange magical and science fantasy artifacts and treasures to make trouble with, as well as a talking gorilla in a captain's hat. You can score the 94-page Secret of the Black Crag in PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG for $15. Agent Especial says, even the Bible needed an expansion. They called it the New Testament. That's pretty funny. That's pretty good. Flaming Heron is with us in chat. Good to see you, yet another of our chat moderators. This one from across the pond. Let's move on to the final news piece. Battle Lords of the 23rd Century is now available for Savage Worlds. Here's the latest on Savage Battle Lords, from 23rd Century Productions. Welcome to the glorious excess of Savage Battle Lords. Battle Lords is a game set in a dangerous future. Play over-equipped, under-trained corporate mercs whose employer views them as expendable resources in a galaxy being invaded by a horde of techno-organic monstrosities called the Arachnids. If you don't like working for the Megacorps, then you can always get a job with the Galactic Armed Forces. What can be more fun than facing down an arachnid charge in a foxhole? Maybe an independent mercenary group will hire you on, or you can get your bounty hunter's license. The pest elimination teams, PETs, are always hiring people to deal with the genetically engineered monstrosities like that Uncle Ernie Freeburg and the anarchist rebellion movement releases on the populace for fun and profit. Regardless of your career, weaponry in the 23rd century is devastatingly effective, and your wild card is going to need a suit of armor if they want to survive long. Armor can be customized with over 90 options to suit your wild card's needs. The unique weapons and armor mechanics in Battle Lords can be used in any Savage Worlds game that needs futuristic weaponry and customizable armor. Savage Battle Lords contains 94 new edges and 21 new hindrances. There are over 15 new weapon systems with 136 individual weapons, 32 suits of armor and over 90 armor options, over 120 pieces of science fiction equipment, 3 new powers, over 25 new power-specific modifiers, and 36 generic power modifiers as well. This 214-page Savage Battle Lords Core Rules is available right now in PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG for $20. Madman says they are looking forward to checking out Savage Battle Lords. Just more savage goodness. Yes, so that is very interesting. I did not realize that the folks over at 23rd Century Productions was actually porting Battle Lords of the 23rd Century over to Savage Worlds. Kind of interesting. Kind of interesting there, kids. I also think, if I remember, I think I spotted a quick start that is available as well for the Savage Battle Lords. So, Flaming Heron says, what hasn't Savage Worlds incorporated into their system? I know, quite a lot out there. Alrighty, so that is the news for this evening. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit Drive-Thru RPG or Dungeon Masters Guild, Storyteller's Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. And thankfully, there are quite a few of you out there who visit Drive-Thru RPG through our banner links and or visit paypal.me. So thank you very much. Big tip of the cap, everybody. Sly Blue Demon is with us. Welcome back. I think it's been a while since We've seen Sly Blue Demon joining us in chat. So should mention, I had a sinus infection, and it actually started up last Wednesday night, and I still kind of have it a little bit. You might actually be able to tell my voice isn't my usually, wonderful, just calming tone. But the weird thing, I'm a little sniffly. It was a painful sinus infection. Yuck. So I didn't actually get anything done. I didn't shoot any video at all. Just kind of sat around. I did some reading and watched. I've been rewatching Boardwalk Empire because I never watched the final season of it. I don't know why. I didn't get around to watching it. So I was like, yeah, you know what? That's a pretty good show. I'm going to rewatch it. So that's what I have been doing. So, yes, unfortunately, nothing got done. So I've got loads and loads on the horizon. Kevin says that they played a Savage Worlds one-shot, and they run a Savage Pathfinder game at a con. They actually like the system and would love to do a campaign of it. So Madman says, Savage Worlds has been a favorite system for a few years now. Everyone has their likes and dislikes. So, interestingly enough, I have heard from people who just dislike Savage Worlds. And I remember reading the core book, but I don't think it was the Adventure Edition. I think it was the first edition of Savage Worlds, and I thought it was pretty interesting. I don't know. I mean, it just struck me as having enough crunch to be interesting without having too much crunch to be overwhelming. Which, interestingly enough, my next opinion video that I'll be sharing is going to be about how you should never allow the rules of your tabletop role-playing game to get in the way of having a good time. So it'll be a relatively short video, but that is the next topic I am going to be tackling. So Kevin says that they have discovered they've got a bunch of Savage Worlds PDFs from back when they backed the Adventure Edition Kickstarter. Sweet. Kathy Evans has joined us in chat. Howdy, howdy. Welcome aboard. So we are going to be diving on in for a first look at Blitz Bowl from Games Workshop in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Oh, I float through the air with the greatest of ease, with or without the flying trapeze. My act is so great, gravity I defy, 'cause I drink T-O-D-D-Y.
Yes, Toddy, the chocolate malt in a can.
Get it, everybody. It's time to drink your chocolate toddy.
Mmm, delicious.
Hank went hunting after moose, bear or rabbit, duck or goose. Then he heard a fellow man remind him of a better plan.
Hey, get your cobia. Hey, get your Valentine. Hey, get your cold beer. Get your ice cold Valentine beer. When you want the flavor in beer today, you ask the man for Valentine beer. It's got the liveliest taste in town. Valentine's got it. Valentine beer.
That's right. Hey, get your cold beer. Get your cold Valentine beer. And you're getting the real flavor in beer today. Delicious, lip-smacking flavor that gives Valentine beer the liveliest taste in town. Enjoy some, will you? You'll be so glad you did.
Darling, if I marry you, will you keep me in Wilkins coffee?
Boy, will this be a soggy romance.
Gaylord! Gaylord! Gaylord, you look kinda crazy, you move kinda lazy. See what he'll do. Gaylord, when you pull his leash, he'll walk with you. Arf, arf.
Gaylord, the pup is full of tricks. Watch. Back up, Gaylord. Atta boy. Now climb, Gaylord. Up, up. Now fetch your bone. Got it. Good boy, Gaylord.
Gaylord, you look kinda crazy, you move kinda lazy. See what he'll do. Gaylord, when you pull his leash, he'll walk with you. Arf, arf.
Gaylord comes with a bone of his own. He's a wonderful toy. He's ideal.
Gaylord, when you pull his leash, he'll walk with you. Arf, arf.
Well, that's certainly a name that you don't hear too often anymore. Yep. Yep. So, a few bizarre commercials there. And yes, Wilkins lives and is romantically involved with Wilkins. I don't know. Sweet. So the Madman points out that my next topic for video is exactly how they run games. Allow creativity without breaking the game. I'd rather say yes, but than a straight no. So Kevin says, yep, Wilkins lives and Wilkins Coffee gets props for early LGBT inclusion. See, I was going to mention, look like Wilkins is transitioning there, but I didn't want to piss anybody off. So, I remember, Kabuki Kid says, I swear I remember seeing a toy dog similar to that as a kid. I personally don't remember that dog. And lately I've been trying to, share ads once in a while from toys that I had as a kid. And then I know probably quite a few people who watch the show had when they were kids too. But I just went with that because it's kind of bizarre. It's a bizarre looking dog. And not very exciting either. It walks forward, you push its nose, and it starts going backwards. Okay. All righty then. So tonight I am going to unbox and take a first look at Blitz Bowl, which is from Games Workshop. This is designed for 2 players, ages 12 and up, plays around 30 to 45 minutes, and it does carry an MSRP of $44.95. Kabuki Kid points out, yes, and Gaylord picked up the magnetic bone. Yes, that's exciting. I wonder what had the magnet. I would take a guess it's the nose. The nose has the magnet, not the bone. But who knows? I don't know. All right, anyway, as I was going to say, I think this Blitz Bowl Ultimate Edition is, I think it might be a Barnes & Noble exclusive. I'm not positive, but the Games Workshop website shows that as like the link to purchase this. So I don't know. I can tell you, I know for a fact, that is where this copy came from. So, because my best friend Elliot Miller, who I had mentioned previously, gave this to me for Christmas, which we exchanged gifts in March. Hadn't seen him. Did get a chance to see him. Anyway, he gave me a gift receipt, and it was from Barnes & Noble. So, all right, let's get rid of the shrink wrap here. I am curious about the differences between Blitz Bowl and Blood Bowl. And I think, once again, I don't know for certain, but I do believe that this is actually rules light compared to Blood Bowl, and you've got smaller teams. So Kevin says it's possible that this is a Barnes & Noble exclusive because I've been carrying a lot of Blitz Bowl. Not sure if they've seen any expansions for it at B&N, though. Yeah, I would have to take a look at that as well, see what kind of teams are available, or if you're just supposed to pick up Blood Bowl teams and trim them down to size. Welcome, sports fans. Blitz Bowl is a fast-paced sports game that pits two teams against each other in a battle to achieve touchdowns, complete challenges, and score the most points. In today's matchup, the Reavers take on the Scramblers. Who will be victorious? Let's find out. So it looks like we've got humans and Skaven. I believe we've got a dozen miniatures in here. I remember picking up Blood Bowl when it first came out. Way back in the day, I used to pick up a lot of Games Workshop stuff. And funny enough, didn't really get to play much of it. I painted it, but I didn't really have an opportunity to play a lot of Space Marines with Warhammer 40K. I had Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. I had Necromunda. I think that's how it's pronounced. So, yeah, I used to pick up tons of stuff. I had money to burn. What can I tell you? Don't have any of that anymore. All right, so we've got a couple of sprues of minis, plastic, some bases, dice, got some cards. Tomorrow during the news portion, we're going to talk a little bit about the new edition that is coming this summer of Warhammer 40,000. So we will be talking about that. This looks like this is our dual-sided board. So we'll get to that in just a bit. First of all, let's take a look at the rules here. So we get the Reavers. So we've got 3 linemen, a blitzer, a thrower, and a catcher. Then for the Scramblers with the Skaven, we've got 3 linemen, a blitzer, a thrower, and a gutter runner. So we've got 2 double-sided dugout boards, 3 block dice, 2 6-sided dice, 2 8-sided dice, 6 plastic balls, 2 plastic score markers, challenge cards, rookie to watch card. I should point out, I heard that the new edition of the Blood Bowl PC game is awful. It's like, oh, that sucks. So we've got drill cards, team cards, and our game board. So the game board, if I remember correctly, it is a pitch. So it's like soccer or football outside the United States. So Kabuki Kid asks, is that Gene Simmons on the one card? I think it's a vampire. I think this is the play-by-play team. Speaking of play-by-play, I was always got a kick out of. I'm not a big fan of Joe Buck as an announcer, but he does have a sense of humor about himself that I appreciate. And I don't know if it's still the same, but his Twitter account used to say that something along the lines of I'm completely impartial unless it's your team because I hate your team. Which is funny because he's always being accused of like, oh, he's for this team, oh, he's for that team. Okay, so it says before you can play your first game, you'll need to put all the miniatures together. There's a construction guide on pages 20 and 21 that shows you how to do this. One coach uses the human team called the Reavers. The other coach uses the Skaven team called the Scramblers. Who just said that Warhammer... Oh, there we go. Agent Espacial says, Warhammer 40K is like heroin. Dangerously addictive. It can lead your life to ruin. Yes, because the funny thing is, and it's not only Warhammer 40K, it's also Warhammer Fantasy and the other miniatures games that Games Workshop and other companies make, where it's kind of like, oh, well, there's $5 worth of plastic you paid $200 for. It's like, I know, and I was part of it. Of course, I was buying lead miniatures, but still. Right, so we've got our basics here. So it says, once you put the two teams of miniatures together, it's recommended that you play through in order each of the 7 drill cards so you have an understanding of the core principles of the game. Once you've mastered those, the rest of the rules will make a lot more sense. It's also a good idea to read through this rule book fully at least once before playing your first full game. Vaughn Moore is with us. So, Stan and Tolkien play Warhammer on the latest episode of South Park. I heard about that. I saw a little snippet of it where Stan's talking to, I think it was his dad. He's like, we're playing Warhammer all week or something like that. So Kevin says that the new 40K edition is apparently taking LGSs. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, local game stores. Duh. Just not friendly. They're just not friendly local game stores. Back because a lot of them ordered a bunch of new supplements before the announcement. Do you think Games Workshop cares about that? Come on. You know Games Workshop is supposed to be awful to retailers. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Once again, I don't have a beef with Games Workshop. I say it all the time. I may not necessarily agree with the way they do business. But, I mean, I got to admit, their miniatures are pretty cool. They have some really cool sculpts and everything. So, all right. So, important concepts: coach, players, teammate, opponent, throw checks and armor checks. If a coach is called upon to make an armor or throw check for a player, roll a d6, compare the result to the throw or armor value for that player. If the result is lower than the given value, the check fails. Otherwise, the check succeeds. So we have re-rolling dice. Some rules allow a coach to re-roll. Taking possession of the ball. Player will take possession of a ball when any of the following occur. They are the target of a successful throw action or a handoff. They move into the same square as a ball whilst making a run action. A ball bounces into the square they occupy and they are open through a unique player ability or bonus play card ability. So we also have challenge cards. Right here it says card versus rule book. We know what it's going to say. Pay attention to the card. So right there, yes, it says the card takes precedence. So we've got a coach's hand, which I guess we have challenge cards that we use for that. So teams are awarded points. Yeah, Jeff. How about the English, man? Like I said, my sinuses are still kind of screwy here. Teams are awarded points during their turn by scoring touchdowns and claiming challenge cards. Okay. Once a team score reaches 10 points, their team coin is placed on the plus 10 side, and their score marker is returned as 0. Same happens when their score reaches 20 or 30. So, for example, a team with a score of 17 would have their score marker on the 7 space and their coin on the plus 10 space. Alrighty then. So, giving us the overview of the game. So, the various different actions that are available. So, we have run, mark, throw, block, sidestep. If you're knocked down, stand up, and reserves. So, that's one of the things that I'm kind of curious about is if we're looking at, because I know in Blood Bowl, at least from what I remember of it, you had reserves. So you actually had specific characters. So I'm kind of curious if you just have your, well, no, there's got to be reserves because it just had the reserve action. So I don't think you have to like worry about their skills in that, which if I remember correctly, then you would be looking at having like various different teammates who all had different like abilities. Now I could be wrong in remembering this, but I could have swore at least maybe with the like star players. So scoring touchdowns after completing an action with a player, but before claiming a challenge card, check to see if a touchdown has been scored. To score a touchdown, a player from your team must fulfill the following 3 criteria at the end of any action made during your turn. They must be in the other team's end zone. They must have possession of a ball, and they must be open. If a player scores a touchdown, the ball that player is carrying is removed from play, and that team's going to score 4 points. In addition, the player that scored is immediately hauled out of the arena, no doubt whisked away to sign a lucrative contract to join the ranks of a professional Blood Bowl team, and is placed in their team's dugout. Scoring a touchdown does not prevent a coach from completing their turn by making any remaining player actions they have available. Even though there may be no ball on the pitch, this is a great opportunity to reposition a player or make a block or 2. Alrighty then. So Kevin says players have skills based on their player type. They can become star players and get more skills, but he's not too sure how that works. Kevin also points out teams scored double-digit points in Blitz Bowl. That's a big change from Blood Bowl. So now we got some advanced rules. We have different regional leagues. Rookies to watch. Every season, a group of players will show more promise than most and catch the eye of the commentators as the rookies to watch during the upcoming tryouts. If you're an experienced Blitz Bowl coach and introducing someone new to the game, give them the rookies to watch card during setup. That coach can discard that card after they make an armor check, a throw check, or roll the block dice for a block action made by a player from your team. If they do, they can re-roll the dice. So it's just basically a reroll. All right, so here we've got our miniatures here. And instructions on how to assemble the team, as well as a glossary. So all in all, really about 20 pages of rules, but a lot of images. Looks pretty easy. All right, so those are the rules. So let's take a look at the pitch. Which I don't believe that this is a really big board, because I think we also have the coaches boards, or the dugout boards. Yep, here we go. These are the dugout boards. I appreciate the fact that they're not identical. That's kind of cool. So we don't have the same exact artwork for the dugouts. That's kind of cool. I like that. That's kind of cool. And of course, I'm taking a guess that these are just going to go onto the side of the board, one on each side. All right, so those are the dugouts. I'm going to move the rules out of the way there. And here is the board, the pitch, I guess we'll say. So here we have Spike Magazine, which is actually a real magazine for Blood Bowl. I think they still publish it. The Crush, I don't know what the Crush would be. So here is our scoring up top. So looks like we put some cards. Looks like we're going to put cards here. And take a stab. Let's see. That's probably how you put your dugout onto the board there. That's kind of cool. So this is dual-sided. So let's see what we've got. Oh, this is another punch out. Short throw, long throw. Oh, okay. So this is like a ruler, I bet. I bet you put this up against their base, and then we have a short throw, and that's the long throw, and that's the limit of their throwing arms. There you go. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to save the miniatures for last because I'll zoom in and we'll take a closer look. All right, so that's that side. What do we got on this side? So this side looks a little bit different. That's cool. Okay, so we'll take these out. So we've got our stands, our bases right here. We've got our team cards, and it looks like it's got teams for a variety of different types of players. So here we've got the orc team. Now, my understanding is that, I know we're going to talk about this tomorrow, but it's kind of my understanding that the new edition of Warhammer 40K is going to do something along the lines of these cards as well. Because I guess, and I can understand it, because there's all the codexes and everything else that are out there for the various factions, and I guess players complain about having to drag all that stuff with them. So they are still going to have codexes, but they're going to be more background and fluff. So Kevin says, minis for orcs and elves sold separately. Oh, I bet you we got a halfling team. Right, so we've got these cards here. There are commentators. This is the rookies to watch card. So these are, I think these are our challenge cards that we get to utilize. Let's take a look. See if they all have the same. Okay, so here's, okay, so this is, these are the drill cards. So this is how you are supposed to be introduced to the game, is by going through each of these. And they're going to teach you core concepts. Blocking, throwing the ball, scoring a touchdown, controlling the board. So we've got that, and then we got the rookies, and then we have all these show bonus plays. So there's, oh, that's kind of cool. So they're dual-sided, and they have, one is challenge. These are the challenges. It looks like they're rated 1 to 3, maybe? Yep, there you go. There's the 3. Show off a little. And I notice the artwork is for a variety of various different races. Like here we've got the orcs. We don't have any orcs in the box, so. All right, so those are challenge cards, and then we have bonus plays. Get in there, leg up. Your time to shine. Ready to go. Absolute carnage. Body check. Inspiration. Cool. All right, so we've got those. And then I'll put those back in there. We also have the teams. So well, that's kind of cool. It's got all these teams in here. So it shows our Black Orc team. And then it's giving us move, block, throw, armor, and ability. So the Black Orc team has Black Orcs and Goblins. The Chaos team has Chosen Blockers and Beastmen. Dark Elves have Linemen, Runners, Witch Elf, and Blitzer. It's kind of cool that rather than just a couple of different types, here's the Dwarves, Elves, Goblins. Haha, there is a halfling team with a treeman. So we've got Hopefuls, Catcher, Hefty, and the treeman. That's cool. Human team. Corn team, which is another chaos team. The Lizardmen team. The Necromantic team. So we've got zombies, ghouls, flesh golem, wraith, and werewolf. Why would they have a werewolf? That doesn't feel like it would be part of a necromancer's team. Got the noble team, the Nurgle team, another chaos team, the ogre team. We got an orc team, unlike the Black Orc team. Skaven team. Snotling team, which looks like you got a bunch. A pump wagon. The Undead team. So it has skeletons, zombies, a ghoul, a white, and mummy. And then we got the Wood Elf team. I would take a stab in the dark that, and I'm sure somebody watching right now can probably pop online and take a peek. I would take a guess that these 6-figure teams probably sell for $25, $30. That is my guess. I'm hoping it'd be less than that, but that's kind of the impression I get. Let's put those back in there. We've got these. We've got a pretty nice insert as well. So I'm going to take a look just to make sure that there's nothing underneath. Nope. Just want to make sure there weren't, counters or anything like that. Okay, put all this stuff here for a second. And then we are going to take a look at the 2 sprues of minis here. I was going to say, not too shabby. All right, so I'm going to zoom all the way in. And I'm actually going to lock the focus. There we go. So that should be pretty clear. So here we've got our coin, our Blood Bowl coin, and then this is our scoring marker. So that's for keeping score there. And then these are the backs of the miniatures. So we've got a variety of different heads. We've got some different balls here. See, that's one of the things that I always liked about metal miniatures is you don't have to deal with sprues, which to me are kind of a pain. Then again, you did have to scrape your metal miniatures too, and sometimes you had to fill them because of gaps with the mold lines, but you run across that with plastic miniatures too. Right, so these are the fronts of the miniatures here. So there's our catcher. These are our linemen, I believe. And then here's our thrower. So it looks like you put their head in, and then there's also a front portion of their chest. And it looks like their pads are a little bit different. So here, this has smaller pads. I'm guessing that's probably going to be used on either the thrower or the catcher. And then we have these bigger pads. Those are probably for your linemen, would be my guess. So, yep, you got to have a nice sharp hobby knife, or what I would normally do is I had a very narrow clipper that I would clip the minis with, the plastic miniatures, get them off the sprue. Okay, so this is our human team, the Reavers. And then we've got our Skaven team, which, if I remember right, aren't they the Scramblers? So there's our Blood Bowl coin here. And where is our, there's our scoring. It's our scoring marker. So that's the symbol that we get on that side of the coin there. So then we've got the Skaven, and it looks as if you're going to do the same thing. You're going to put together, you're going to put their heads in. Now, some of them look like this one here, this figure here, and I understand this plastic's pretty dark. So it's not real easy to see some of the details in that. But it looks like this figure here, you're just putting a head on. But others look like you're adding torsos. So here's our, I think it's either our thrower or catcher, because they've got a ball in their tail. Funny thing is, you would think, this is just me, but you would think that for each team, you would only have one of the miniatures with a ball. Just saying. I mean, that's what I would think. So I know Agent Especial had asked how many teams were included. I'll count those up in a second. As Agent Especial is taken off. So the Madman says, looks like a 6-player Chaos team goes for $19.95, but that's the only team they're seeing online. So then I would take a guess that you would be looking at needing to assemble your team from Blood Bowl figures. That would be my guess. All right, so let's take a look here. All right, so that's 10. I'm going to take a guess 20 teams. Well, I just counted 19. I don't know if that's right. Yeah, 19. It's an odd number to go with. So, and of course, as I mentioned before, one thing you got to give to Games Workshop and I guess Citadel Miniatures is that the sculpts are always pretty good. Pretty good sculpts. Pretty good detail. And these look like they are about 32 millimeter, thereabouts. All right, so we have got the 2 sprues of 6-player teams. We've got all the various different cards. We've got the dual-sided dugouts, the dual-sided game board, the rule book, and that's what we get when we take everything from the Blitz Bowl Ultimate Edition outside the box. So there you have it. Coco B says Games Workshop lists Chaos, Undead, Skaven, and Halfling through Barnes & Noble, but they only saw the Chaos team as well. I don't know. I do not know. But in 1995, it's not so bad for 6 miniatures. So, only thing, myself personally, that I think of when I'm looking at, say, miniatures like that, is that you'd only be using them for Blood Bowl or Blitz Bowl. You'd not be using them for any other fantasy games, right? So you know, a lot of people out there, they'll utilize various different fantasy miniatures for different skirmish games or or big, massive army battles and things like that. Most people aren't like super sticklers about, oh, well, hang on. That's from Warhammer Fantasy back in 2005. So, once again, Blitz Bowl is from Games Workshop. It is for 2 players, ages 12 and up, plays around 30-45 minutes, carries an MSRP of $44.95, and is available in the U.S., at least, through Barnes & Noble. Alrighty. So, kind of cool. I don't mind jumping on in and playing. Flaming Heron says a mini is a mini. That's how I always looked at it. So it'd be like, yeah, I don't care if it's old Grenadier stuff. It's on the table, so that's all good. All right. So, what's cooking the rest of the week? Well, tomorrow I changed things up from what I was looking at last Wednesday. So, we still took a look at Blitz Bowl tonight. Tomorrow, we're actually going to take a look at a couple of Mutant Crawl Classics adventures from Tim Satley. I almost said Slatley. So, Tim Satley. So, he authored both of these adventures. And as I mentioned at GaryCon, I had an opportunity to play in a play test of an upcoming Mutant Crawl Classics adventure, Horror at the Merc. So Tim was kind enough to give me these 2 adventures. So we're going to take a peek inside them. So they are published through Gamelyn Games, I do believe. Although they do not carry the Gamelyn Games trade dress, I don't believe. Then on Wednesday, we are going to have a War Game Wednesday because I'm going to unbox and take a first look at the Battle of White Plains. I think this is entry number 10 in the Great Battles of the American Revolution. Yes, it is volume 10 in the Battles of the American Revolution series. For some reason, I thought it was Great Battles. So, pretty hefty. So we're going to dive on into that. We were going to take a look at the new edition of the Russian campaign. But, I mean, that is a real traditional Hex Encounter war game. I'm sure I'll share an unboxing video of it. Just not this week. So, Madman says, looking forward to the shows this week. Although they could say that every week. I would hope so. All right, that is it for this time out. Of course, if you dug the video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. Also, if you have a moment, please leave a comment because, once again, I know a lot of people out there are always curious about how can they help spread the word about thegaminggang.com as well as the Gaming Gang YouTube channel. And one of the ways is to show engagement. So that helps out quite a bit. Anywho, if you like the video, by all means, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I share other original videos, such as my upcoming review of Pathfinder Firebrands from Paizo Inc. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, don't forget, visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you were watching live and took part in chat, big tip of the cap to you. But of course, I know a lot of people out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy life to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang YouTube channel. Right, I will be back tomorrow. And here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. That's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.